Welcome to Rising Up by Faceless Labs. My name is Evan Mann, and this is the official podcast of the financial revolution. We're going to take you behind the scenes and give you an inside look at the wild and wonderful world of cryptocurrency. Each episode, you'll get to know our team, our friends in the space, and the movers and shakers of Web3. It's going to make you feel like you're right here with us, building the future. I'm talking engaging, entertaining, educational conversations for people at all levels of experience, not just techies and investors. This show is named for the mission of Faceless Labs and the rallying cry of the Faceless Many. Everything we do is about helping everyday people leverage the power of blockchain technology to rise up and rewrite their financial future. We're building a movement, and you're invited on the official podcast of the financial revolution. Hey there, everybody. How's it going? Welcome, YouTube. Good to see you, my friends. Sorry for the sparse apartment and the mysterious lighting. I'm still getting my office set up. For a while, I've been doing this broadcast from the sunroom in our house. And right now, you're getting me in the spare yet to be painted office. I don't know if you can see it, but over my left shoulder, I've got the Scrivener right there, waiting for his new home. And I just shaved my face today because Kim and I are going to a Halloween event tonight, and I'm going as the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. And so I'm mostly in my costume, but all the really fun parts, like the the burlap and the hay and stuff, is kind of going to be last minute. I got the whole hood. I got a ton of straw everywhere. It looks like I went to a farm and murdered a small animal. I've got straw everywhere. I'm going to be joined tonight by Mihir and Joe. They're going to be here in just a minute. They're getting their audio set up. We're going to do some giveaways. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited because we're kind of testing out this live stream format. Something we want to do more of is live streams where the community can come together. We can have people hop in, guest in, do that kind of thing. And we're trying it out on Twitter. We're trying it out on YouTube. We like having the, see your face if you want to share your face thing, though. Our friends, Michael, the maestro, is going to join us a little later. He's putting a kid to bed. He's a dad, in addition to all the other things he does. Mac is getting ready for X Day. He and Amber are packing, and then they're flying to Paris tomorrow. They got a $700 flight from Dallas to Paris. I don't know how they did it, but they're going to be there for all of X Day, Benjamin Minku, Elron Network, etc. It's going to be a lot of fun for them. And Alex, the Heliomancer, is presently in Las Vegas for a bachelor party. But here's the catch. The groomsmen are all huge Magic the Gathering fans. And so they're in Las Vegas, but it's like NerdCon. I'm pretty sure they haven't seen a woman in 48 hours. Or if they have, it's like it's not like a Las Vegas showgirl. There are obviously lots of women and, people of all genders who play Magic, I'm sure. Just my joke. But we've been ribbing him about that. So he's not going to be here either. We hope to do more episodes like this, though, where it's just us to talk about the state of the market, to answer some of your questions. And hopefully next time it won't be so much of me vamping until everybody gets here. But you know me, give me a microphone and I can go. I wanted to set the table a little bit for you. This is our YouTube channel. Eventually we're going to have, flashy backgrounds and stuff. But if you haven't checked it out yet, I see a lot of regular people in the chat. Hey, everybody, Offhead Harry, what's going on, brother? If you haven't yet, please do us a favor, give it a subscribe. And if you haven't checked out the Rising Up podcast, it really is more entertaining than just me hanging out, talking behind a microphone. We have had some really stellar guests, and some of the episodes that have aired, speaking of aired, let me know how the mic is sounding with the live stream. Let me know if I'm coming in too hot, if I need to turn it down, or if you would like to hear me better. I'm happy to turn it up. Hey, Zombie, what's going on, brother? Unfortunately, I can't do anything about the camera quality. And like I said, once the office is done, you'll have a beautiful background to look at. But for now, you just got me and some white walls and a ring light. Good. I'm glad to hear it. And I'll update the camera too. I want to get a little boom arm over here since we're really going pro. Oh, here's my friend Joe. What's going on, Joe? Hey, man, how you doing? Oh,
Almost put a Michael there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, dude, I can hear you. I can hear you. You
Excellent.
sound good. You're looking good. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. It'd be better if the Phillies were winning, but we're doing okay.
Yeah, we had some of that in the chat. We're rooting for the Phillies. um, we got a couple of people here in the chat, and I was just kind of asking them if they haven't already to please take a second and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps us. And if you haven't checked out Rising Up, it really is a great show. We've had guests with awesome folks. We've talked to the crew at Spatial. We have talked to Evan McMullen of Disco. We have some episodes in the can that are really cool with William Quigley, who's the co-founder of Tether and Wax Blockchain. We have one with Ryan Carson, the COO of Moonbirds. And we've got a bunch more coming up. We're going to do Boys Club Crypto. We're going to do, I was telling him, Joe, more episodes like this, though, where we get the whole team. And I was giving everybody's excuses. I was saying Max got a pack for X Day and Alex is at a nerd conference. But it's so good to be here with you, man, and here with everybody.
Yeah, and I know Michael's going to try to get on later, which is good.
I think Mihir is coming too.
Excellent. Yeah, it was the last time it was me, you, and Mihir. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was super good. I got Zombie talking about my lighting in the chat. Hang on, let me fix it. That's even better. Now you can see me. I hope you don't mind, Joe, if I use some scissors while we're talking. I'm putting some finishing touches on a costume that I've already done a couple of times, but I'm trying to make it better. I'm doing a scarecrow.
Yeah, tonight. I saw the picture of it. It looked great.
Thank you. We're going to a party that's got a costume contest, and the prize is $500. And I don't know that my costume is going to be good enough, but I've got a pretty good scarecrow walk, and I can kind of I think that'll help.
Kind of like no bones, kind of like
falling all over the place.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Are the kids excited for Halloween?
We are. Yep. We actually went down and did the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party down in Disney. We all dressed up as Alice in Wonderland. So my middle daughter was Alice. My oldest daughter was the Hatter. Me and my wife dressed up as Tweedledum and Tweedledee, and my little guy was the White Rabbit.
That's fun, man.
But they have another costume that they're going to go trick or treating, and they don't want to use those costumes. But they're excited. You
gotta have like options. Kim,
of course,
is always. Like super good at Halloween, and she's had like 4 costumes this year, and all of them were kind of. She wasn't quite sure. She really is very thoughtful and likes to, figure out exactly what she wants to do and then just execute it. And she was kind of. I don't know that she was scrambling. She wasn't scrambling. Kim doesn't scramble, but she, I would say, whipped together like 4 different really good costumes. She had 2 different witch costumes that were both fantastic. Everybody does witches, but she killed it. And then she's got a Joker costume she's doing tonight, like a lady Joker. And I don't know if she's going to do she was going to do a Jack Skellington too, but they all look incredible.
When you do something like a witch, like you have to like make it stand out. Otherwise it just becomes like noise in the background. Yeah. So you got to do something that like helps you kind of stick out from the crowd.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
lucky. My wife is extremely crafty. So, we bought some things for the Alice in Wonderland setup, but a lot of stuff she just makes on her Cricut or, puts together some other way. We have a lot of homemade costumes.
Yeah. That's cool. That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I see Neil's in the chat. What's going on, Neil? Unknown Element. Yeah, we could start a TFM Etsy shop. Zombie, you said before replacing the webcam, try adding another light. Oh, that's what you're talking about with the light. Yeah, I don't know. I got a crappy camera on this computer. I was talking before you got here about trying to take my setup, without breaking the bank, take my setup to another level. I'm in like an office that I'm going to paint, and I got to put some bookshelves up and stuff. But hopefully it'll look like hospitable.
Yeah, I mean, you have a tough competition with Mac's setup with all the artwork in the background, and
yeah, it looks like a comic book threw up on his walls. It's cool. It's very cool. So, man, what's everybody in the chat? Tell me what you're looking at, what you're thinking about, what questions you have. They can be TFM related and otherwise. Joe, I was going to ask you. I had a couple questions for you to just see, market related stuff. I know we got Serge in the chat. Neil's there. Unknown Element. We have a lot of people who are involved and have different stuff that they're, I'm sure, working on, and could get us hip to. And I'd love to hear about it. But I was wanting to ask you about two things particular, Joe, to know if you'd heard about them or thought about them. Just been kind of sleepy lately, like the market has, but also there's a lot of stuff going on that I feel like is just about to kind of bubble up. And a few in particular were, I'm interested in what you think about Aptos, the blockchain that just launched. Are you hip to it?
I've heard of it. I heard about the airdrop. I know that it has some names behind it, and I think the creators are from Meta, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it seemed like a
With some
Silicon
Facebook
Valley
background. Yeah.
VC. It seemed like Solana point, 2 or whatever. It was kind of the vibe I was getting from it. And
Yeah.
also a lot of people on, I spend way too much time on Twitter now. And a lot of people on Twitter are talking about it like that. They're like, oh, Facebook made a blockchain and, forgot about it and then brought it back. And,
Yeah, but I mean, it's not really Facebook because they're not with the company anymore, so they kind of
that's
went
what I
off on their
understand.
own. But the only my all context is just from hearing about the airdrop, and then as things would do in this type of market, an airdrop came out and just cratered because people were like, "Hey, free money, let me
Yeah.
cash out and lock in some liquidity there." But
Well,
I
and
haven't actually experienced any of the chain or anything like that.
I haven't experienced it either, and I've seen some good reports from people who are using it about its uptime, about its speed, about its volume. But the biggest thing is people talking about, oh, all your VCs and early investors that you courted,
Yeah.
the token breakdown in terms of how many tokens went to the team, how many went to those early
Hmm.
investors, how many went to advisors, and then like you said, it's the same old again. It's like here comes a token and it just
It's funny you compared it to Solana because while Solana, has held its value, as well as most in this area, all of the Solana projects, all the DeFi coins, all the project coins on Solana, their chart all looks the same. It's all like you can just see like the unlock of all the people that got in on the seed phase and got in
Mhm.
early and then dumped everything. So again, VCs, they're part of our space. Like they're never going to go
Sure.
away. And I'm sure that they serve their purpose, but you just got to be careful when you have an unlock of tokens like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some activity in the chat. Some people are saying, can you see the chat, by the way, Joe, over there on the right?
I can,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, good. Well, then I don't need to narrate it to you, but people always do this on live. This is one of those things that like people never did before live streams happen, and they always read the comments. And I try not to be one of those guys who like reads them out loud, but I like to read them out loud. Neil asked about Reddit NFTs, and that was something I kind of wanted to pick everyone's mind about tonight too. And I would love to hear what your take on that is because I've got some thoughts about that.
Yeah, I don't have too many thoughts. I mean, I know I've heard about it, and my experience on Reddit is very small. Like I know what it is. I think my extent on there is like going on for like fantasy football advice, like and threads like that. But um, I think it's a great example of onboarding with the potential of adoption when you use like a Web 2 tool like that to kind of get people um, exposed, get them some wallets, utilize that as kind of like your first trip into the space. My only concern around that, and again, I don't know how this was done. I don't know what kind of real like onboarding education they did, but like did they just get that and still have no idea like what it is and what it's for, or were there actually some onboarding pieces? So I don't know if you know
So
that.
yeah, I do. So okay, I actually think it was a really smooth play. And I think it was there are a lot of people who said some version of when Instagram has NFTs or when Twitter has NFTs,
Hmm.
and they've all kind of done it, but this is a real smooth one where they rolled out NFTs to pretty much everyone on their platform. And the first time they did it, this is like their 2.0. The first time they did it and started talking about it, they used the terminology. They were talking about NFTs and everybody hated it. Everybody on Reddit was like, NFTs suck. The platform's going to die, yada, yada. I'm paraphrasing. But what happened is in this most recent kind of rollout, they made avatars, like a PFP collection with these Reddit avatars, and just dropped about 3 million to their users. And they're in a custodial wallet that you can go claim. It's kind of like a POAP. When you go claim a POAP or whatever, you don't necessarily have to have a wallet, or like the Starbucks Odyssey, or like we're seeing with a lot of these big brands, they're calling it a digital collectible. And they talk about it in all the ways I think are helpful to talk about NFTs, but they're not using a lot of the terminology. And I believe it's on Polygon. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there.
Polygon again, man.
Yeah, Polygon,
Polygon
man.
got the Disney. Polygon got the Starbucks. I mean,
Polygon's awake.
I'm just,
Dude.
I'm slowly dipping back into that because it just feels like anytime I hear anything with, um, with companies like everyday companies and trying to get that adoption and for the masses, I keep hearing it's built on Polygon. It's built on Polygon.
Yeah, the quick facts are, it's the most, by the numbers, it's the most successful onboarding effort in Web3 history. So they've got 3 million wallets, which is more than the amount of wallets registered on OpenSea. They distributed 86,000 NFTs. There were 40,000 sold. The rest were just free airdrops. They were minted on Polygon, and right now the top avatars are selling for, I say right now, I'm looking at some numbers from a little bit ago, but at one point they were selling for 7 ETH with a market cap of 100 million and 24-hour volume of 235,000.
Wow.
This is from October 24th. And like I said, I'm very bullish on it. The way they talk about it is very different than how we talk about it. They say, like, they don't call it a wallet. They say it's a vault. You go to this screen. It's like your avatar needs a vault. So our collectible avatars, they're on the blockchain, and your vault is used to store them. You can secure your vault with a password. So there's not a lot of seed phrase stuff. There's no public private address. And they have these really helpful, like, quick visual cards that tell you the benefits of owning this collectible. Like, you can mix and match traits from avatars that you own to create your own unique avatar. Which is something you don't see in a lot of PFP collections, but a lot of people ask for it, right? Everyone's always like, oh, I've got these 12 NFTs. Can I customize them? You can customize these. You can transfer them, and you can verify them on their platform. They take card payments. It was, I think, a smashing success, especially in terms of how people were talking about it. Sure. But I also want to point out, I saw there are a lot of people coming over to Twitter from Reddit, and it reminds me of like the Wall Street bets end of 2020. Like, if we just hold, the floor price is going to go up. They can't it was like a lot of that, because basically what's happened now is the prices have kind of gone down, or they're starting to go down. And my take on it, my uninformed opinion, is that I think in the next couple of years, they will become a valuable asset, because they're going to do like first generation, second generation. I don't think it's probably going to happen overnight, but like, if I have the bandwidth and the time, and they dip below, $100 or whatever to get a couple, I'll probably get a couple.
And it's just like, with the punks on ETH, like the reason that they got, that volume and that esteem is because they were first. They were one of the first ones. Oh yeah. So when people look back and, they do the history of onboarding, the history of Web3 really gaining traction and gaining access, if this really is a key contributor to that, that alone is going to drive its value just because of its importance to the space.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it just is such a good, like I said, it's such a good model for brands who want to get in. You've got the kind of before and after case study. And it just, I don't know, Starbucks is doing Polygon. Everybody's doing Polygon. A lot of people are doing custodial solutions, like Web 2.5.
And that really has to be how people get on, because like if we really want this to grow in adoption, people aren't going to trust themselves to be custodial. So when you have like Fidelity wanting to offer Bitcoin and all these other, wealth management services, people trust banks. People trust those wealth services. So if they say it's okay and they will hold it for me, I'm more likely to take the plunge.
Yeah,
Hey, Michael.
absolutely. We got Mr. Monarch in the building.
Evening,
What's
gents.
going on? We were just talking
uh,
about Reddit NFTs.
Oh, Reddit has come up a lot today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about just different ways to reach new Web3 communities, and Reddit was just like popping off about they're now doing Reddit Spaces, and
Oh,
new features. Yeah,
that's kind of hot.
I've never experienced them, but you'd think it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Neil put out there Starbucks is going to be huge. Reddit proved it. I agree. I think especially if Starbucks is going to be one of the first ones, and I know Disney is also on the path using Polygon to putting out some, again, NFT digital collectibles is I think the terminology they're using as well. The
Yeah.
first movers in the space are going to be big, especially from household names like Starbucks and Disney.
Yeah, Polygon, just as an investor, I couldn't agree more. As an investor, Polygon is in my top 5 holdings, like especially, and it's one that I'm not doing a ton of accumulation right now, mostly because I'm like got my income planned and I've already, filled my bags kind of thing for the time being. But when I get like money to spend on tokens, that's like one of the ones I'm expecting any day now it's going to go up. And I'm going to say, oh, I should have bought more.
Well, it was living around like 80 some cents, and I think I checked earlier today when Bitcoin was pumping, and it was up to like 92 cents.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's a 15% jump, in this recent move.
Well,
But yeah,
and
I mean,
I'm not expecting.
I've been
Go for it.
DCAing as well. It's Bitcoin, ETH, AVAX, Polygon. Those are the four, and AVAX and Polygon have been smaller DCAs than Bitcoin and ETH, just because I'm just going with the big ones because those will be less volatile for right now.
My Gemini card has been sitting earning Polygon for like the last 3 months, and I didn't
Yep.
even think about it, but I should go check with it now.
And Gemini started accepting AVAX now, so I'm hopeful that the card will start earning that, because that would be awesome. Right now it's earning Bitcoin, but it always feels like you get so many zeros in front of it when you make a purchase. You're like, does it really mean anything?
Right. At least
Yeah.
with Polygon, it feels like you're at least getting some cents on the
Exactly.
dollar.
Exactly.
Lisa is dragging us. Did you see what she said? She said, "Good Lord, they'll let anyone on this show." Yeah, I can't believe they let us drive. It's great though. What do you guys know about scale? Did you see that Jim Bohannon said that?
I did. I mean, I know the name. I think was that one that Mac was talking about on TikTok. I don't know.
I feel
I
that
don't.
sounds right.
I earned some from Coinbase for doing their quiz at some point, like a couple months ago. But other than that, I know nothing about it.
You know where I've heard of it? I just went to the website. I've heard of it before. I have not researched this. It is a gasless blockchain, and it claims to be the first interoperable blockchain network fully optimized for Web3 user experience and security. And Jim was saying in the chat about how we could use it to scale to Ethereum because, according to their site, it is interoperable and built in an integrated manner with Ethereum.
Yeah, he says it's a layer 2.
Yeah. Okay. So it's probably like EVM kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't gotten the same play as like an Arbitrum or an Optimism. I don't know how much stuff it actually has on it, but
Yeah.
I think layer ones was the narrative of last bull run, and I think layer twos are going to be the narrative for the new bull run.
Dude, I'm so bullish on layer twos. Roll-ups are pretty much ready to go. And you mentioned Arbitrum. That was another, I asked you about Aptos earlier. And one of the things I wanted to hear you guys talk about, if you had any, thoughts on exposure to, is Arbitrum. It came on my radar when Loot happened. The Loot NFT was launched on Arbitrum. And I just got really interested in, they were like all in on layer twos, building on Ethereum, ZK rollups, and also fostering a really interesting ecosystem. Like they've got a lot of great DeFi. They've got a lot of gaming stuff. They've got some NFT stuff happening there. And I was at ETH Denver, and they had like 5 people there. And it wasn't even, I'm sure they were in the exhibit hall too, but I met them in the lobby during registration. I don't know how they got that sponsorship, but it was smart. And it was small, like just a table and a couple of people. And the guy who was like their head of partnerships was talking to me at that time. We were thinking about using Arbitrum for the Valorize NFTs. And so I was talking to him about that. And he was so helpful. He was like, nice to meet you. Please take my Telegram. Here are 3 team members who let's schedule a call. It was like, it was awesome. They were big. And everything I see about them makes me say, oh, I got to be watching.
Yeah, no, and I think there's just going to be more and more that come. I think there's the EVM rollups that Polygon, is working on, and I believe that, like you had said, I believe they are functional. I think that's gonna really pick up steam. I feel like there's been so much positive news the last 8 weeks that if this happened a year ago, things would have been popping off. So it's when sentiment comes back and people realize, holy crap, like there's been so much growth, there's been so much good news. I think we're gonna really reap the benefits then.
Yeah. Are you hip to Arbitrum, Michael?
Other than just knowing and seeing it, I'm not super deep into it. No.
Yeah, they do a lot of spaces and stuff, and they're just like quietly have been building and have been consistent and have been showing up and make good products. And the thing everyone's talking about right now is that an airdrop is coming. The token is getting ready to launch, and they haven't said how it's going to happen, but they have released like kind of like Monarch did. Here are some things you can do to earn some points. And here is
a lot of speculation from Optimism doing that as well.
Yeah. Here are the ways you can engage in on-chain activity, use the bridge, check this DeFi farm. They have a DEX called DopeX, which is kind of cool. And I just same kind of thing. I'm too busy. I haven't gotten around to it, but that's high on my list. I might not get an airdrop, but if I do, it's free money. And Arbitrum would be one of those tokens that like I would hold for a long time, probably.
Sure.
Yeah. I know they also have a protocol called GMX, which is on Avalanche as well, which allows people to trade and with leverage and do other types of like leverage trades. And the benefit of the protocol, from what I've read and what I've looked at, is that a lot of the yield, rather than it just being inflation of a token or inflation of a farm token, a lot of the profits that they get from those transaction fees get passed on to holders. So it's actually the more that the more trading that's done, you actually gain a benefit from that, rather than just them giving you a bunch of GMX that eventually goes to zero. It's actually, I think they're calling it real yield. That's kind of the move in DeFi now, is to get more protocols where the rewards are from the use of the protocol rather than just the inflation of tokens, because all those charts, as I said, they all look the same. There's a pump, and then once it kind of capsule, it hits the peak, everyone just starts unleashing those tokens, and then it's just a wave to the bottom.
Are you am I understanding correctly that it's a different way to incentivize people to buy the token, because the more you hold, the more you earn from the activity?
Right. When you stake the token, in this case GMX, or they also have like a bucket of assets, which is like made up of Bitcoin and ETH, but when you stake that GMX token, you get a percentage APY, but that APY is driven mostly by the transaction fees from the protocol, rather than we're going to print 1 million tokens and then just give them out throughout the next 12 to 24 months.
Right. Because we know what that graph looks like.
Exactly.
Very well.
All farm tokens look the same.
When I was doing my taxes this year, this is very recently because I waited right till the deadline. I was going through, and Michael, thanks to you, I was using Coinly. I loved it. It was fantastic. But I still went through and was just looking through pages and pages and pages. I had, made my move through DeFi farms, food farms, and I had forgotten about some of them.
Yeah.
One I was in was Jaws with Auto Shark
Yep.
Finance.
Yep. Same.
There was another one called United Farmers Finance. Obviously Cake. But it was like a little trip down memory lane. And some of them I had good timing on, and some of them I sure did not.
Here's the challenge question. Here's the challenge question for everybody. So we've all at this point, you know, whether late, on time, whatever, gone through and finished out our 2021 taxes. And Evan, if you've done Coinly, and Joe, I'm assuming you did some version of that because I know the amount of DeFi you dipped into.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of the number of transactions that that you saw that year?
No, I couldn't even. I couldn't even look. I mean, it definitely calmed down later in the year, but like that's like the summer of 2021 was just my degen farming odyssey.
I remember. I mean, I was following you through a bunch of Polygon stuff, and then dipped my elbow into AVAX after you had already been over there, you know, for a while. And
August, September of AVAX was very, very good time.
Yeah,
that was
very,
Joe,
very
right?
good time.
Yeah, and so much of that was like just doing this every day, every 6 hours. Let's just see what we got, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God. What do you remember, Michael, what your number was?
It's upwards of almost 10,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. Also because I did grid trading, right? My beginning of the year, right, you know, dipping into my toe into everything was through grid bots. And so I'd set up a grid and let it run, and it'd run through a couple hundred transactions a day.
I want to set up a bot on KuCoin, and that's what's stopping me, honestly.
So KuCoin, random aside, well, it'll still make your taxes like painful, but KuCoin and Coinly track pretty nicely.
Okay.
To where it'll just do it for you. I did a lot of mine on a exchange that did not import into Coinly, and so I was like spreadsheet hell. It was great.
Yeah, I have a lot of spreadsheets, and you know, that's kind of where I spent most of my my documentation. But I feel like the grid bots and that type of activity dwarfs the farms, because there's a lot of like collecting and then spending and trying to cash out those farm tokens. But
collecting,
however many times that bot moves transactions back and forth in a span of a couple hours is just amazing to me.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about setting up like a swing trading, like just basically a limit order bot, not ping, 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 but like, it's up $5. Let's do it. Like a 10% range kind of thing.
Right.
Because I like to do that manually now. If I've got a couple coins that I'm tracking and, it's up 10%. Let me sell it real quick, that kind of thing. And I would just rather automate that. And it doesn't happen much. So, bot will do it better. I don't want to be tied to my phone. Give me a second. I want to read some of these comments, especially this one from our friend Unknown Element X. Andrew says, this comment is to be read out loud. I am reading the comments section out loud, and it is a comment about reading the comments section out loud. It says, to be read out loud. I am reading the comments section. Forget about it, Andrew. Offhead Harry had a question that I think is interesting that I'd like to hear your perspective on. Do you believe erratic, emotionally reactive tweeting by founders can be beneficial to their project? Any publicity is good publicity.
Not in a bear market.
Yeah.
In a bull market?
In a bull market, I think I would say yes for the short term. But in a bear market where hype means nothing at this point and people are don't have like the sentiment and the intention is not there, that I feel like that actually works against you more.
Yeah.
I have two opinions on that because I feel like it depends on what the project is, right? Like if it's a project that's intended to shape itself like a business, which is like most of the projects that'll actually survive a bear market, then no, not great.
I wonder if there's an example that Offhead Harry was particularly thinking of, because if you have one, pop it in the chat, and I promise I'll get to it sooner. But it's Go ahead, Michael, because
you're fine. The flip side of it is that my success model when I was playing as a musician was always to do everything I could to land myself on a late night show, and then just like strip down naked or do something ridiculous in the middle of the performance. You'd never be invited back, but everyone would know who you are.
They'd talk
You
about
know?
it all day.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's an awareness play.
I'm a big fan of publicity stunts. I feel like what I'm not a fan of is, he said, erratic tweeting. So if
Yeah.
somebody is like a loose cannon, like, I don't know, a Kanye, I don't know Kanye personally, but I get the impression that he's got his phone and he has a strong emotion, and like anybody without a filter, he just goes. And because he's got an audience, word travels fast. I'm not a fan of non-strategic erratic tweeting. If you're going to be erratic with a purpose, one of my favorite stories is about a publicity stunt for a sequel to Tarzan. This is in the golden era of Hollywood. The publicist's name is escaping me, but he called a hotel and told them that a famous piano teacher who was named like Tiberius Rene Zahn, which is like T.R. Zahn, was going to stay in a room at the hotel and needed a room with a window. And the window needed to be big enough that they could lift via a crane a piano in a crate into Mr. Zahn's room, because he always traveled with his own pianos. And the hotel assured him that they would see that it was possible he had a good room. He gets there, checks in. He's got like a top coat. He's an erratic guy. And he gets to his room and they get the box outside of the room. They bring a big crane and they lift it up and they lower it into the room, and everybody came to watch, and he shuts the window. And a few hours later, housekeeping kept hearing really strange noises coming from the room that didn't sound like a piano. And when they opened the door, there was a lion on the bed eating just like the carcass of an animal. There had been a lion in the crate. And then the next day it was in all the newspapers, like, big hotel gets crazy guest, T.R. Zahn with lion in his room. I thought it was phenomenal. I'm sure they weren't invited back and they probably had to pay a fee. I don't know how they got the lion out, but what a great story, right? I wish people did stuff like that still.
I think both of those examples demonstrate that in the short term, when sentiment is high and hype has direct translation into floor price and profit, then yes. But I think, again, like you're starting to see, and we've seen in Elron, we've seen in other places, these programs and products and NFT ecosystems that were the darlings in March, April, May of last year, and now it's like, well, we don't really know what to do, because the hype that we were running on has died and we don't have anything else to offer. And I think in the grand scheme of things, especially as the space matures, there's going to be less and less room for that.
Okay, so Offhead Harry just texted us and said he's referring to High Res with a laughy face. He said High Res is Kanye. Who knew? I haven't seen High Res tweeting lately. He is maybe a little erratic, and I don't know. I really don't know him personally, so I don't know what he's dealing with, but I definitely sense a little frustration from him about like public sentiment with regard maybe to all the projects he's juggling. And I know how that feels, but sure. I can definitely see, if you got Twitter fingers, how it could come out one way or another.
Well, and he's also sorry, Michael. He's also a single, to my knowledge, he's a single person.
Yeah.
Whereas, we have a team of 10 to kind of share that lift and share that load. And I can only imagine, trying to do all of this and all those things by myself.
Yeah. Or like with hired help that you're contracting, interviewing people, and then the burden of trusting them. Like if it wasn't for you, we trust each other, we know each other, first of all, and then we trust each other. If you don't have that, like that's a huge stressor.
Yeah. And he's the face. Everything points back to him.
That's a good point.
There's I think there's a potential way to do that, right? There's like a wear your heart on your shoulder, on your, I don't know, whatever the saying is, right? Like there's a way you can do that and do the like from the hip tweeting that comes off as like, this might not have landed, but you meant it well, and we know where you're coming from, type of thing. And I think there's that line, and then there's like erratic,
Yeah.
you're going to want to apologize for that in the morning.
Yeah.
Tweeting.
Yeah. There's passion, and then there's a line that you can cross if you're not careful. And again, I don't know exactly what Offhead is referring to. The last thing I saw High Res tweet about was about taking over Meyer Cart. But
yeah. There's also the other side of it where I probably live, which is like I think probably 10 times about every tweet I'm about to push out, and that's not the greatest way to run social media, because it's like then you post, minus 10x the amount that you should.
Yeah.
Paralysis by analysis, right?
That's exactly right.
You're
spending time learning about it instead of executing it, and boy, we've got so much knowledge coming in. It's hard, it's easy to do. Joe, do you guys, and Michael, I know you played Final Fantasy, and I know you were both on Avalanche doing DeFi, but Leftover Eggs just posted that the developers from Final Fantasy are partnering with AVAX. Do you know anything about that?
I think the studio, it just the knowledge,
the
news
cool.
just dropped today, I believe, or yesterday. I think the studio's name is called Gree, Gree, if I'm not mistaken. But they are a very large game studio that is partnering with AVAX. Their head up, his name is escaping me now, but he tweeted about it earlier today that I saw. But yeah, that's it's
wow.
That type of news 12 months ago would have been everywhere, and it's just being yelled into a vacuum at this point. Like, it's just,
oh my God. Yeah, I see this. There's a tweet one day ago. They're behind Final Fantasy, One Punch Man, Monster Hunter, Naruto. The claim in the tweet is Avalanche is the gaming chain, soon to be the anime chain. I'm bullish on that.
It's all about the subnets. If you're on Avalanche, you know where that is. The fact that they can run private blockchains, essentially, where you can decide what your gas is going to be, the token that you use for that, and you don't have to compete with everything on Avalanche's main chain for speed and for your gas fees and things like that, for that load to be taken off, but you still get to utilize the Avalanche protocol for the security piece. It's like, I really think like that is what almost every company could then have their own blockchain that they could manage how they see fit and decide whether it's going to be a public or a private, and how they do that. I just feel like it just takes the scaling issue and just throws it out the window, because everyone can have their own blockchain.
Run me through that, because I'm familiar. Systematically, does that mean you can basically go from AVAX to one of those subnets pretty easily, like take tokens from one or the other?
Yep. Yeah. So I have familiarity with it for DeFi Kingdoms. Crystal Vale built their expansion, or the expansion they built was Crystal Vale was the first subnet. And you bridge just like you bridge anything else, across a chain. But the chain is called DFK chain. So you have to have a certain number of validators with a certain number of staked AVAX to be able to run the subnet chain and get that security piece. But however, you can choose what your gas token is on that. So I know Krabata has one for DFK chain. Jewel, which is their main token, is the gas. So that token is now just like it becomes a coin rather than a token, because a coin has its own chain that's used for gas and all the transactions that it's used upon.
That's a really cool setup, like you were saying, for games, right? Like you can build your own internal game ecosystem, get into it easily just by being on AVAX, and then not have to deal with any, enjoy the structure, like an EVM compatible, if you will, even though it's not, it's the AVAX, but be able to do your own thing on top.
But it is, and it is EVM compatible. I mean,
is AVAX?
Yeah, AVAX is EVM compatible, so it doesn't take a lot to kind of transfer over. But you take all the transactions that DFK chain and Krabata and all those other games, and if you were to put them on AVAX, it would bog that network down so much.
Sure.
But the fact that now you can have, though, all those games can have their own, place to live and have their own place to do the transactions, and AVAX doesn't feel a thing when it comes to speed or to gas fees.
Man, that's a good deal. I'm into it. I'm excited for the game.
Mahir's in the chat.
Yeah, did you see that? Mahir's in the chat when he should be up here. What's going on, Mahir? You just you hiding behind a keyboard, man? You not man enough to say it to my smooth face?
Get up here, my Australian friend. I did notice the lack of beardiness over there, Evan. I thought everybody on the team had to have some scruff.
No, man. I shaved it. I risked my whole romantic relationships future tonight, but the excuse is it's part of my costume. I've done the scarecrow for like 2 other nights this Halloween, and I just don't think it's quite the same unless you got a real like clean face to do the whole like blend in thing. So when I get done here, I'm gonna set it up.
I was gonna ask if it was costume driven.
Yeah.
Or is that maybe just your excuse? I don't know, but
yeah, what I like to do is personally, I think it's the easiest routine to shave it when it gets to a point where it's too long, instead of like trying to trim up your beard and shape it and do stuff like that. So in my single life, when mine was the only opinion that mattered, I would grow it to a certain length and then just start over. I would do this all the time. Now, I find that my personal life doesn't go as well.
Your opinion is not the only one that matters.
It's not the only one that matters. That's right. And so I've had a beard for a long time. Yeah. But I like having a clean face because, you get to feel the wind on your skin, and I don't know, just it's fun. But yeah, it's costume related.
My wife has opinions of it as well. And then now that I have 2 kids, they also have opinions of what should happen to my facial hair. It's great.
Yeah.
I remember when my girls were young, and it was the first time that I shaved this off. I had to have them like in the bathroom watching me do it. So it didn't freak them out when they were like, "Oh my God, who are you? And where's our dad?"
Yeah.
Yeah. My other favorite thing to do, especially for a long time, I couldn't grow a beard, and I really wished I could. And, it just came in stages. I had sideburns first, and the rest came. But the reason that it didn't happen, I'm pretty convinced, is because God knew how much like just distracted fun I would have. My favorite thing is when you grow it all the way out and you're going to shave it all off again, is doing different things on the way down, like the Benjamin Minku, or like the Chester Arthur, or like the Striper, or, the little Conquistador or whatever. I don't know. The 6-year-old in my heart is like, this is so cool. I never get tired of it.
I usually end up with the Freddie Mercury and try to keep that for as long as I can. That's where I go. Yeah.
Yeah. I usually pick one and shave down to it, and we'll do it for a day. The coolest one I think I've done, I saw it on a Major League Baseball player. I don't know if I have a picture of myself doing this, but it's the monkey tail, where it starts as a sideburn that goes down your chin and then comes up your mustache like a full wraparound, but only on one side.
That's something.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a Major League Baseball pitcher who was just like rocking it unironically. It was like his thing for a while. I don't know his name. I don't remember, but I was like,
I believe I did see that picture. Yeah. I believe that's right.
Amazing.
It was a bold sartorial choice.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to,
I was just looking at some of the chats. Offhead also asked, what are our expectations of X Day?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I say before we get into it, every time I'm about to change or introduce the subject, one of my polite speech tics, and I want you guys to call me on it if you hear it, because I hear it all the time in the podcast, is I say so. If you hear me saying
that's your transition?
So, yeah,
that's
and
your transition word?
That's my transition word, and I'm so over it.
That sounds a lot more polite than mine. I feel like my tick is anyway.
I don't know.
Not so great.
But what do you think about X Day? I would love to hear what everyone's predictions are. I've been kind of watching the price, figuring it might do one last little bump up. I was hoping it'd get up over 60 because honestly, I'd like to sell a little bit and then buy back in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm convinced of anything in crypto, whether it's bear or bull market, anything that has like an exact date and time that it's going to happen, that will be the peak of the price, and then it will immediately drop because people will sell the news.
Mm-hmm.
It happened on the ETH merge. It happened on, release days. I just feel like, so I think again, it'll build up, and then it'll, X day will kick off. We'll hear some really cool things, but it won't matter because people will sell.
Yeah. I'm not sure
kind
what
of in the same boat.
That's exactly what I think. And I'm not sure what I'm expecting. I feel like they're going to launch like a Myar 2.0. There's been a lot of talk and progress in their relationship with UTrust, which I think is huge. And I think it's possible, Alex Jr. was saying this in our chat, that they might announce like a prominent partnership with a nation state or a government, something like that. I really think
be massive.
It'd be massive. I think that's their long-term play. I mean, you just think about the value. I've heard a lot of people talk about how much money is traded in terms of currency exchange. And if you can get a piece of that pie, I mean, it's huge. Their market cap is what? Like it's they're number 43, I think, by market cap on CoinGecko or something like that. They're down for what they could do for sure.
What do you guys think about do you think there will be any new information, new design, new conversation around mechs? And Joe, I know you have opinions on this.
that was going to be my hope, I guess, is the best word, because it's been promised, as with, they said that they were working on whether new tokenomics or just a new approach or just something to breathe life back into it. And I know Neil had mentioned, I guess it was a couple weeks ago, that there was a Twitter space for a new swap feature. I think it was a stablecoin swap feature on Elrond. Ash Swap, maybe. I might be messing up the name. Maybe Neil, if you're in the room, you can check me on that. But it, as someone who really loves DeFi, Elrond is extremely lacking in that department. So I would love to see, whether it be UTrust, but like some push to really kind of build on that, because I feel like when we get back into this a sentiment that's positive, NFTs are great. People love NFTs, but you need something else to bring people over.
It's interesting too, because the giant mountain run up that happened with Elrond was because of DeFi.
Yep.
Right. It was
in anticipation of that.
Yeah, it was the anticipation of the MEX incentives and opening of the decks and that kind of thing.
Sounds like an Emily Dickinson poem, The Anticipation of DeFi.
It does. And it's just interesting because, if I was looking at that from a marketing standpoint, I would be like, oh, like this really seemed to work out, I would be looking at, maybe we should create other opportunities that recreate that again.
Jim Bohannon puts in the chat, I think Elrond will be a very strong project. They just need to get into the Americas. We've been saying that for a year.
We're waiting. Now. Yeah, we're waiting. Everybody, but to be fair, I have a lot more tolerance is not the word. I have a much better, what is it? Having spent some time and experienced the frustrations on this side, I really have a lot of forgiveness, a lot of grace for anybody who's trying to build something in blockchain, because there are so many things. There are so many potholes. There are so many roadblocks. It's just hard. And we generally have been encouraged to think in short time horizons by algorithms and stuff, by pump and dumps or whatever. But the truth is, most people who are building anything that's worth building, it's probably going to take them a while. So I've become more forgiving of that. I feel like Elrond is, they're allowed to be slow. I would like to, that's my thing for X Day. I hope Mac can get a better sense of their team and how they work together. They have a pretty sizable team for an organization that markets so poorly. I think he's going to get a better, just a sense of what their real priorities are. Maybe, at least I hope so. I hope he's going to be able to talk to him.
I hear everything that you said, Evan, and I agree that we need more patience in this space when it comes to building. I have two frustrations with Elrond as a group. One is, you can have patience with building, but you don't need patience with marketing. You don't need to be dragging your feet when it comes to advertising and making yourself known and available to the largest market in the world.
Yeah.
And two, if we're going to ask for patience, if you're going to require patience, then you cannot overpromise and underdeliver. You cannot do that. You need to manage people's expectations so they match your timeline and not feed into hype and then not deliver or not deliver to the extent that people expected you to.
Yeah, 100%. Mac always says overpromise and overdeliver, and I'm always like, do we have to overpromise? I think you should overcommunicate and overdeliver more concisely than I'm prone to do, but I'm with you. 100%.
Go big. Go big.
Go big.
Go home, right?
Get naked on the Tonight Show.
Yeah. One thing that's always made me wonder about Elron in the Americas is if there's some red tape, right? There's a lot of just tough stuff to go through to get into the US and do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're looking at it from a business and systematic scenario, you can pretty much do it once and do it poorly or do it really well. And I get the feel, and what do I know? But I get the feel that perhaps they think we will be there, but it has to be perfect. I get that feeling a lot from their team. It has to be perfect desire. Now, whether or not I think that they'll ever be able to make an entrance that is perfect, I don't know if any of us can ever make something like that that's perfect. But I do feel like that's part of the desire here, and the market conditions and the SEC and everything else is not lining up the way that they want it to be right now.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think you're probably right, and I think there's definitely a little bit of let perfect get in the way of good, but I would push back on, I mean, the US is obviously its own regulatory monster, but the way that they have a lot of clearances in the EU, and the EU is also quite a beast in terms of how many hoops there are to jump through. Obviously, I don't do that for a living, but my understanding, just having heard people talk about it, is it's also quite rigorous. And then if you can get clearance in a lot of those countries, in the European Union generally, that it's not hard to scale these kinds of services to the rest of the world. I say not hard. I just mean to say, it's a lot of like replicable stuff.
Right. It's not a far jump to then, make that leap to the US.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Real quick, everybody, if you're in the chat, I want to encourage you to just give me a hear real quick. I've got everybody's names who's been with us tonight, but if you haven't had the chance to comment yet, I think we should do some giveaways. I promised in the tweet to do a giveaway for anybody who's a new subscriber. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe and get in that giveaway. For anybody who retweeted the initial tweet, I've got 17 different names there. And anybody who's in the chat tonight, I think we should give them something too. So we've got some TFMs and some Corrupteds to give away. And I don't know how you guys feel, but we have enough on hand of each that I think we should be able to give the winners their choice. You don't have to be present to claim the prize. But what do you think about that? Does that seem okay? Does that seem like a good prize?
I like it. I think
it'd be cool.
Sounds good to me.
NFTs for everybody. You get an NFT and you get an NFT. Now, I will tell you, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, you should enter that giveaway, because we literally have 4 people who've subscribed in that time period. It's an easy contest to win. If you're already subscribed, you're in one of the other drawings, and you might win 2 NFTs tonight. Who knows? I'll share my screen in a second. I'll do a random number generator, but I will say that if you're not yet, please, my friends, do us the service. I promise they're fun. I promise they're good. And if they're not good, you don't like them, you should leave a comment and tell us why. We'll read the reviews. We'll listen. We want to make this the Web3 go-to show, the one that you enjoy, the one that you learn from, the one you see your favorite people on. I saw Zombie in the chat said he'd love to be on. I would love that. We had Arif from Alethea AI on, and he was fantastic to talk to, and we dropped Serge's name a couple of times. I would love that. But anybody you have suggestions for, if you have the 5 minutes in your day, you can leave us a review on Spotify or Apple. But YouTube is a helpful one. And watch time and subscribers, that's what we're trying to do now. So if you've got ideas, one of the other things I wanted to do is tell you that I've recently discovered the ability to allow people to post on a channel for you. And I'm thinking specifically here of somebody like Christopher, who doesn't need admin privileges, but he could post some of those awesome tribute videos. And we have a lot of people who do cool stuff. I would love to post their work, just showcase, have a community playlist, I think would be cool. But if folks listening to this now or in the future have other ideas for how to make this show more relevant, more engaging, and how to help us reach audiences, if you want to write us a press release, if you think we should write a press release, if you think, we should get on the Tonight Show and sing naked, whatever, we'll do it. I'll tell you about the suitcase full of money idea another time. We'll send Michael naked. I want to send a suitcase full of money to someone and tell him to rise up, but that's, it's another story. So
there's also, there's that fine line of how we started off TFM, all of the smoke and cloak and dagger and that kind of thing. There's some more of that we just need to get back to. And if anybody thinks that they have a good idea for how we should do that or what we should get the word out to, let us know, because we like doing that.
Yeah. We may or may not have something in the oven right now.
Yeah.
We can neither confirm nor deny that.
Neither confirm.
I'm in my kitchen, so it could be right over here.
There could be a clue literally in his oven. Yeah, we could do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so people know that I'm honest. I need a millennial. I got to find my hotkey and figure out how to do it. It's not millennials anymore though, is it? All right, here we go. Shift S, screen sharing tips. Don't show these tips again. Okay, hope my seed phrase is put away. Here we go. Can you see my screen? Ooh, look at that. Look at that inception. So okay, check this out. Here's my list for who's in the chat tonight. I know it's small, just bear with me. This is it for subscribers. The fourth subscriber was actually a team member. So there's only 3 people in that contest. And then over here, I've got a list on Twitter. And Neil and Jower did a quote tweet, but I'm going to put them in that respective order at the bottom of this list from 1 to 17. You guys have any preference for what I draw first? From Twitter or subscribers, or
let's do the people here first, since they're
here
like
and
giving us questions, giving us comments.
Yeah,
okay.
Evan, if you wanna up the prize pool, I'll drop a Monarch airdrop in there for you.
Hey.
Whoa, yeah, let's do it, dude. I'm in. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people in the chat. Let me just do one final sweep and make sure I didn't miss anybody. Jim, I got you in there as your stage name. Let's see, 10 people. Here we go. Generate. Everybody ready? Boom. Number 9. Who is it? Brian Garby. Congratulations. You are number 9 on the list. I think Brian may have left. I think that might be the actuary. Oh, no, that's Bill. But Brian, congratulations. I'm going to get in touch with Brian. I'm going to make sure he's open.
He was here. Tab. He was here a couple minutes ago. There he is.
Under promise, over deliver, Brian.
There he is.
Congratulations, Brian. Send me a message. You can send it here on YouTube. You can send us an email. Oh, Gerbacorp. Okay, great. Honestly, the easiest thing will be just send me a message in Discord with your wallet address. Yeah. Under promise, over deliver. Send me a message with your wallet address, and we'll get you your choice of a TFM or an unrevealed corrupted. And I think it's an unrevealed. I think we still got some of those.
Yes.
Don't hold me to that.
Yes.
If we're not giving away unrevealeds, if everybody else in the team says, "What the hell, you can't do that," I might give you a revealed one. But I'll
That's right. If we don't have any extra, I have an unrevealed.
I think I do too. So we can give them away.
All of us probably do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Alex has got like 100. He's crazy. Okay, let's do next a giveaway for the people on Twitter. I'm gonna milk this thing to the end. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube, I'm telling you what, go for it. So there are 17 people here. 2 of them are not on the display. It's Neil and Jower. In that order will be 16 and 17. Everybody ready? Come on, baby daddy needs a new pair of boots. Oh. 5, number 5. Okay, let's see who's number 5. Congratulations. 1, 2, 3, 4. B Cylindariu on Twitter. I'm going to send this one a message. Let me remember just pull it up for later. I don't think they're here tonight, but we love them anyway. Congratulations. Congratulations, B. Ledut 1 when you're listening later. Let's do one for our YouTube subscribers. Let me just make sure real quick we haven't got any Cinderella's slipping out of the ball. Unknown Elements sliding in at the end. Way to go. I'm throwing him in. Number 4. Okay. We check. I love it. One final draw. Let's do out of 4. Here we go. Everybody rub your rabbit's foot. Oh my gosh. Unknown Element at the last minute slides in. Number 4 wins an NFT. What do you know about that? Congratulations, Unknown Element. Send me a message on Discord. Give me your wallet number and give me whatever you would prefer, if you want a TFM OG or if you want to corrupt it, and we'll make sure that we can get that to you. Yeah, way to go, everybody. I love when we get to give away stuff. I think it's a lot of fun. And I heard a suggestion. I saw it before we went to the giveaways that Leftover Eggs left. We need to bring back the hotline. I think we should include that in the podcast, customer service. I think we should encourage at the end of every podcast or in the podcast. I think we should be asking people, like, if you want to be on the air, like leave your message at customer service. Yeah. I think that would be a lot of fun. I would love to have just a bunch of people saying, rise up.
Yeah. A lot of NPR podcasts do that, and it's pretty hilarious / awesome.
What kind of prompts would you give them? Would you give them what kind of questions would you guys, do you want a question? Do you want a prompt? Like, tell us about your biggest win or loss. Tell us why you're part of the revolution. Leave us a joke or I don't know. What's a good prompt? If anybody has a comment, if you guys have thoughts, I'd love to know.
I love, and we did it last time we were on. I love the green candle, red candle.
Give us your green candles and red candles.
Positive or negative of the week. It doesn't have to be crypto related. I think having them, send us questions over the air, or on that hotline, I think would be really cool. So that might be a little bit easier to keep track of than, chat can sometimes get lively and we have to scroll a little bit up to make sure that we didn't miss a question.
Yeah. Do you remember when we Leftover Eggs was putting it in the chat? Do you remember when we got all those calls from him and Mold Cheese Nugs about what we wanted? Want a pizza with leftover eggs and yada yada yada.
He wants to give us some dad jokes, so that'll be good.
I like that. And Zombie, you missed the giveaways, man, and you were so close. You almost got one for being a YouTube subscriber. There were only 3. I'm sharing my screen still. It's like Inception over here. There were only 3, and then Andrew slid in at the last minute and subscribed and won the giveaway. So I'm sorry, my friend, you didn't win, but everybody's a winner here in some way,
I think we got to all the questions that were in the chat. If we didn't, please throw it in there. So I want to make sure.
Well, and I'm so sorry to do it because I've got to cut myself off in just a second because I got a scarecrow up and I've got to go try and win a costume contest.
There you go. 2 contests in one night.
Oh, it's tonight. There you go.
Yeah, this is right. This is living on the edge. We're giving away NFTs, and it's a $500 costume contest. And I don't think I'm going to have like the most hi-fi costume, but I was telling Joe and everybody before you got on, I'm pretty sure that if I, put together my lanky scarecrow walk and like sell the whole part, that people would just, love that.
It's not about the costume. It's about selling it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And maybe if it doesn't work out, I'll get naked on stage. I don't know.
Now, Michael, I forgot, people go out at 10:15 p.m. on Friday nights. I was like, what do you mean you have a party? It's like, it's bedtime. What are you talking about?
Yeah. You can do it too. It's like, when I have friends that come to Nashville and they're like, show me Nashville. Suddenly I'm like 25 again. And we could do that. No problem.
Good for you.
And then I sleep for the next 2 days. It's good. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Evan, how much time do you have? Because I've got an exit question if we want to do it.
Yeah, let's take your exit question. Let's wrap up on it. I'm into it.
Okay, so we've been talking DeFi. We've been real deep into chains and coins and all kinds of stuff. I'd love to know y'all's opinion about how we take it from there and make it mainstream. Right? What is going to bring it from? What is going to pull us out of this bear market? Turn NFTs to digital assets. Turn tokens and DeFi into interest or whatever. What What's your take on how that's going to happen?
I think this is a good full circle moment a little bit, because I feel like we talked a little bit about that when we were talking about Reddit, and we talking
Sure.
about Starbucks, and we were talking about Disney, and I think Neil just posted regulation in the chat, and
Smart.
I think that's true. I think there needs to be clarity before you get a lot of the big players, for lack of a better word, to come in and really start pushing the space. And I said this the last time we were here. I think that if you want adoption, if you want mainstream, you have to sacrifice decentralization to a point.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's just necessarily an outright sack. I agree with you in principle. And what I think is important is like not giving up Web 2 things because we're such decentralization maxis. For example, I think it's helpful if you're launching a project, especially if you're launching a Web 3 project, that you have a website that people can Google, because that's still the first place people are going to go. We are trained when we want to learn about something. It took a long time, but now everybody does it. And so until we get to the place where we have a decentralized browser or whatever, we got to start with the Googling and walk people there. I think the Reddit is a great example. Setting people up with benefits without overwhelming them with blockchainology is helpful.
Yeah.
Which again, you had mentioned that you thought Reddit did a really nice job of that. I also feel like we talked a lot about the custodial wallet, and not a lot of people are going to feel comfortable being a self-custodian. It's just not going to happen. So if we want mainstream, we have to give people options for that. And along with that, we have to understand that like people want to call a help desk. People want to have a place to go to get questions answered, to learn how to do this. And I think, the first wave of crypto was very, very everything on me, code is law. And I think that if we want mainstream, that kind of has to go by the wayside a little bit.
Yeah. That's a really good point, Joe. I actually feel like the focus on community that is in the Web3 world probably comes from that human desire / need to have a help desk. If you think about how all of us met, it was kind of because we were all each other's help desk, learning how to crypto, I guess, at some level. But I think you're all both right. There's a very interesting, I have conversations with a lot of my non-crypto head friends all the time about decentralization versus centralization. And I think there is a very good argument for some things grow in very well in centralized environments, and some things grow very well in decentralized. And a nice mix of the two might be a good place for trust and trustless and things to happen in conjunction with each other for good reason.
Yeah, I think so, certainly for now. And I agree with you, and I'm putting it on the screen. I think infrastructure is everything. If we have a DAO that is a bank, for people who are unbanked, or payment systems that really, really work and they're very easy to use, that look like what people are used to and have bumpers and safety wheels, training wheels, safety wheels, that will help people get used to what might be new to them as we introduce it. So I don't know though that there's any like one thing. I think it's going to be, Reddit happens, and then Instagram NFTs will happen. And then before you know it, it's in music. And then all of a sudden there's a DeFi bank of the people that's very prominent, and your grandma uses it. I think it's going to kind of, it'll happen slowly and then all at once.
Yeah.
And then Polygon's going to the moon.
You won't know it happened until you look back and you're there.
Yeah. That was a good question. Jim asked about our 10 e-gold plan, and I would just beg your forgiveness, leftover eggs, and tell you we'll have to catch up on it in the Discord, because I want to get my nose on, and I got to go to Halloween, and I don't want to give you a bad answer, but more details are coming soon. Yeah. If I only had a brain, I gotta hoof it all the way to Oz. So it's something that we'll be talking about more in Discord, the same way that we're talking about Marketplace Reloaded. It's like week by week. But I would say look for it probably more news next week, because Mac's flying to Paris. Alex is in Vegas. He's coming back, and we're all here, but I'm going to go to Michigan next week. So we had a big week this week, but that's where the best information will be. And the goal is to really have an ambitious goal that will help us all as a community move towards, I'll say it, a true valuation. Something to feel good about in a bear market. It's one of many things that we're trying to do to bring value. You guys got anything else? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking good luck to you and your scarecrow. That's what I'm thinking.
I want to know what Kim's going as. That's really what I want to know.
Oh, so Kim tonight is going as the Joker, but a lady who is the Joker, and she's got a fantastic costume, put it all together herself. Yes. And before this, she's done so far on Halloween this year. She's great at Halloween. She's got this Joker costume. She's done two different witch outfits that were both fantastic, including like an actual broom that she made herself in Salem. And she also has a Jack Skellington costume. That's like the whole thing. So, and for her, she was like 2 weeks ago, she was saying to me, I don't know what I'm going to do. I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to do that. She in her life has really like started early and planned intensively. And as a result, she has this huge costume chest upstairs. But this year she was not so sure. And when I saw all her looks, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, because like she killed it. She was great.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Are your kids gonna get dressed up, or just the big kid?
Yeah. Weston is gonna be Spider-Man, and
nice.
He has instructed us that he watches Spidey and His Amazing Friends.
Yeah.
And so the plan was that he's Spidey, Mom is Ghost Spider, I'm Spin. And his baby brother was either going to be Tracy, which is like this little robot spider, or Green Goblin, which I thought would have been hilarious. But
little baby Green Goblin, yeah,
little baby Green Goblin, yeah.
August loves that show. This year, August, for people who don't know, that's Kimberly's nephew. He lives right next door to us. He's 6 years old. He got this costume that's like one of those bodysuits, like a blue man or a red man or whatever, like one of those old elastic book covers.
Morph suit.
But it's morph suit, and it's totally black. And we took a picture the other day. We went to like a little Halloween brunch. We took him, and he was wearing that, and it was like all of us in the picture, and you can't even see him. Like he really is totally like a shadow. And we were like, people were like, is that what you are? Are you a shadow? And he said, no, I'm an evil guy.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for the luck. Thanks everybody so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. I know everyone here does too. We love doing this. If you've got suggestions, you can leave them in the comments. You can leave them in Discord. You can leave them to YouTube. You can send us an email to hello@facelesslabs.io. We're easy to reach. You know who we are. Thanks, guys, for hanging out.
Thanks, Evan, for setting us up. It's fun.
Yeah, man.
Heck yeah. We'll be back again soon. Till next time. Rise up, everybody.